Welcome to the Laughing Horror Podcast.
Good day and welcome back to the Laughing Horror Podcast. I'm your host as always, Kyle Laugh, and on today's episode we've got your typical news, releases, and as well as a special interview with writer, director, producer, and actor Jeff Frumess, who will be talking to us about his feature-length film, Romeo's Distress. Before that, we get into all this, though, did want to talk to you guys about a few things. So, first off, Santa Clarita Diet. I don't know if you guys have watched it yet. I know most of you out there have. Decent idea for a show. Horrible ending for a season. I know they wanted to keep it open for a second season, but, you know, so many different ways you could have done it. But, I'm not gonna push it any further than that. I know that's slightly a spoiler for some of you guys out there, but it's a Netflix show. You know they're gonna try to push for a second season. Next to that, I know it's already been out for a little while now, but have you guys been playing Resident Evil Biohazard or Resident Evil 7? Definitely a great game. If you haven't played it yet, definitely play it. I know Alex from Beyond the Veil Horror Podcast has a Twitch account, and he's been playing it online with some people, so definitely worth a look if you haven't checked it out yet. Next to that, I've beat it myself. Awesome game. Following that, The Walking Dead returned last Sunday. If you guys haven't seen it, it has to be like the most awesome walker kill that they've done thus far on the show. Definitely worth a watch just for that alone. And finally, what I wanted to mention as well, just so you guys don't forget, Bates Motel returns for its final season this Monday. So on the 20th of February, definitely take a look at that. The first 4 seasons were fantastic, and the 5th one, I can't see it being any worse anyways. But definitely looking forward to that one. So without anything further, we'll go ahead and we'll jump into the news. So there's a lot of excitement coming from a potential rumor on Valentine's Day. The 1927 film with Lon Chaney, London After Midnight, had been rumored to have been found. Robert Parigi basically brought these rumors to light and explained his history in searching for the films. He also explained that 20 years prior, he thought that he found it and set it up to have it transferred to an updated version. I believe he mentioned D1, which was at the time the highest tech available. Basically, the dealer canceled the deal at the last minute and, of course, hasn't been able to find the film since. So, once again, the rumors did turn out to be false, but they had found frames of the film that they're believing was cut from the trailer. So, the search will go on for it. Definitely a lot of people were excited about it. I believe it was Dread Central that I was reading it on. They said that they were talking to somebody who had some additional frames in that, and they were going to be releasing them soon so everybody could check them out. So definitely something to look for if you're interested in. Other than that, just keep it on Dread Central to see when they release that. Next to that, we've got news from Suspiria. Basically, it's been told that the Suspiria reboot isn't actually a reboot, according to Mia Goth, who plays Sarah in the film. After a chat with Dread Central, Goth revealed a few things about the upcoming remake of Dario Argento's 1977 classic film, of the same name, of course. So what I'll just give you the quote that she said. So, well, what I could say about that is that I think people are going to be really pleasantly surprised to realize it's really not a remake at all. I think people are going to be shocked. It's a nod of the hat to Dario Argento's version of Suspiria, but we really do take it to a completely different place. Well, I say that and think I'm going to be giving a lot away, but Luca has got a great eye for aesthetics. He's a very tasteful person, and he knows what he wants. It's going to be visually stunning. I know for those of you who listen to Beyond the Veil Horror podcast, they have also mentioned this and read the quote as well. So if I'm repeating, I do apologize. Next to that, like as mentioned before, I'm not a fan of the original. I do enjoy the artwork, like the art of it, the colors, the idea behind it, but I think the story, to me personally, is lacking. Again, I'm looking forward to this new rendition as long as they can keep the same feel as the original. But other than that, we'll have to wait and see, really. I don't really know what else to add here. Next to that, there's another big rumor this week as the potential closure of Fangoria was apparently imminent. So the rumor was brought on by Ken Hensley, who was the former editor-in-chief of Fangoria. He basically claimed there was no longer going to be printed issues. Fangoria then right away reported that the statements were wrong and they would release a statement the following day. So upon the release, although trying to be positive, they basically stated that they're currently unable to afford to do the print versions of the magazine and kind of hinted towards basically financial issues, more than likely unable to pay staff. So they do, however, claim that the website will continue to run as usual without interruptions or issues, so that's definitely one plus. Mind you, the website hasn't had that great of content over the last little while next to some of their podcasts and that. And last but not least, a ton of news for the upcoming Halloween movie. So John Carpenter, who is involved in the film, announced that David Gordon Green and Danny McBride would be writing the film together, and this is what he had to say about it. David Gordon Green and Danny McBride are joining the project to complete the creative team. David and Danny will write the script together and David will direct. I will continue in my executive producer role to consult and offer my advice and feedback as needed. David and Danny both came to my office recently with Jason Blum and shared their vision for a new movie, and wow, they get it. I think you're going to dig it. They blew me away. It was also mentioned that McBride stated that he does not want to make this a comedy just because he is known for comedy roles basically his entire career. So, if he's a horror fan, if he understands it, and if Carpenter's saying that they understand what this film needs, then I'm more than willing to let them do the job. Not that I have an option, but I'm definitely going to take a look at it. There's also I believe a petition going on online to have Robert Englund play Dr. Loomis. Definitely something that I would be down for, but it depends if they're going to put Loomis into the film and whatnot. But we'll have to wait and see. But moving on from there, we'll hop into the releases for the week. So first off, for releases this week, we've got Ghosts of New Orleans, which comes out today, February 17th, on video on demand and in a limited theatrical release. It's directed by Predrag Antonijevic and written by Gerald DePego and Justin DePego. And it stars Josh Lucas, Terrence Howard, and Lake Bell. A disgraced detective has a supernatural encounter which leads him to investigate the murder of a beautiful cellist that unlocks the truth behind her mysterious death. Also out as of today on video on demand and in a limited theatrical release, we've got XX, which is written and directed by Annie Clark, Karen Kusama, Roxanne Benjamin, and Jovanka Vukovic. And this one stars Natalie Brown, Mike Doyle, Christina Kirk, Kyle Allen, Peyton Kennedy, Peter DeCuna, Ron Lee, Jonathan Watson, Lisa Renee Pitts, Morgan Peter Brown, Melanie Linsky, and Brita Wool. XX is a new all-female helmed horror anthology featuring 4 dark tales written and directed by fiercely talented women. Annie Clark rocks her directorial debut with The Birthday Party. Karen Kusama exorcises her only living son. Roxanne Benjamin screams Don't Fall. And Jovanka Vukovic dares to open the box. Award-winning animator Sofia Carrillo wraps together 4 suspenseful stories of terror. Definitely one I'm looking forward to watch, so probably going to try to get that one in and do a review of it for next week. There are a few extra ones this week, but due to time restraints, we're just going to keep it quick and simple and save this as the last one. So we've got A Cure for Wellness, which is out in theaters as of today. It's directed by Gore Verbinski, written by Justin Haith, and stars Jason Isaacs, Dane DeHaan, and Mia Goth. An ambitious young executive is sent to retrieve his company's CEO from an idyllic but mysterious wellness center at a remote location in the Swiss Alps. He soon suspects that the spa's miraculous treatments are not what they seem. When he begins to unravel its terrifying secrets, his sanity is tested, as he finds himself diagnosed with the same curious illness that keeps all the guests here longing for the cure. So once again, definitely one I'm looking forward to. I'm going to try to see this one in theaters. If not, I will have to wait it out. You know, movies get expensive sometimes, and we've been there a couple of times this week, me and my wife. So hopefully you can make some time for this one. So other than that, that's all that we're going to do for releases this week. And with that being said, we're going to jump right into the interview with Jeff so we can talk about his film, Romeo's Distress. Jeff Frumess is a writer, director, and producer of several shorts, and one of his most recent pieces of work, that being his first feature-length film entitled Romeo's Distress, which won the Best Screenplay in a Feature award, as well as having been nominated for Best Feature, Director, and Actor. Welcome, Jeff, and thank you for being on the show.
Thank you so much, Kyle. I'm grateful to be on the show.
All right, so we'll just jump right into it then. Can you tell listeners about the film?
Yeah. Romeo's Distress is the elevator synopsis is Romeo's Distress is about a boy named James and his unrequited love for a girl named Jane, and Jane's father Dale, his sadistic response to it all.
Excellent. So I want to talk about the cinematography and the sound quality. Like the fact that you had such a small budget. What was it? Just over $2,500, was it?
Something like that. About $2.5K.
So like the fact that you had such excellent video and excellent sound. How were you able to pull that off with such a small budget?
Well, really, it was. Part of it was the shooting schedule. We shot pretty much once a month for like 15 months, something around there, maybe a little bit more, a little bit less. And that allowed me to keep the budget low. It allowed me to not ask more of my actors and crew than just, the donation of their time to this endeavor. So that helped, and the associate producer and sound man encouraged me to shoot the film. So I did not hire a cinematographer, so that definitely kept the cost down as well. So
excellent. Other than the obvious influence from the title of Romeo and Juliet, what were other inspirations for the film?
Definitely just a lot of I don't know. It definitely comes from music, though. I got the title is from a Christian death song that to me has always personified the whole genre of like death rock, goth death rock music. Mm-hmm. And I'm definitely a gushing fan of John Waters, and so there's definitely some of that in there. And I love, like Night of the Living Dead, the whole black and white. I just love black and white. So I just wanted to make this black and white. Also because it was, easier to shoot the movie. I wouldn't have to worry about color temperature as much if I shot the whole thing in black and white. Mm-hmm. Since I'm not really a cinematographer. So.
Okay, well, regardless, it turned out really well. So, and it's funny that you mentioned Night of the Living Dead, because I was actually going to ask you about that. It really had a feel of the original Night of the Living Dead, while, like you said, being filmed in black and white in a cemetery. So it definitely gave off that vibe and that feel to it, which I really enjoyed.
That cemetery is, or at least that's one of 5 cemeteries that's in the movie. But that cemetery at the beginning is the old Dutch cemetery in Sleepy Hollow. I live right about 15 minutes south of Sleepy Hollow, and I just love that place, and I wanted to shoot there. And if you go right outside the gates, that's the place where Irving based the Headless Horseman. The old covered bridge is that water stream.
Oh, really?
So yeah, it's a cool area. It's a really cool area.
Oh, for sure. Speaking of the film, though, is there any information regarding a release date or anything of that nature?
Well, right now I'm trying to figure out the distribution. I'm also waiting to hear back about possibly playing a few more festivals. I'm not really sure. And And the amazing thing about the internet is that if you make your movie for as little as possible, and you kind of haven't, if you study marketing or you try and find your niche audience, you could essentially try and distribute the movie yourself. And so I'm trying to figure out how I can do that. And so that's why I'm like reaching out to as many podcasts and blogs and stuff as possible, because I just want to put the movie on the radar.
Yeah, definitely get the word out there, and it's definitely worthwhile. So I hope that endeavor works all out for you for this film itself. It definitely a big feat, especially with an indie film, right?
Yeah, it's not easy, but if you don't spend much making it, and you take the rest of that money that you were going to spend on making it and use it to market it, there's a chance of possibly getting it out to more eyeballs without having to go through traditional distribution.
No, absolutely. It seems to be the way that a lot of new filmmakers are doing it these days, and they're getting a lot of good results as long as they're sticking to it, right?
Yeah, very much so. Very much so.
All right. So on that note, we'll jump into a bit of another topic here. So is it safe to assume that you're a true horror fan? Is this correct?
Oh, from the moment I probably from the moment that I first saw Killer. I'm trying to remember what my earliest horror memory was. It was like seeing Killer Clowns from Outer Space on TBS, the Sci-Fi Channel, and seeing the girl trapped in the floating balloon and the giant clown alien laughing at her with big sharp teeth, and like just thinking it was totally real and totally just like outside of my comfort zone. Ever since then, I've just been down the rabbit hole with a voracious appetite for all forms of horror.
That's awesome. Movies. So next to that, what were some of your other experiences with the genre while you were younger?
Definitely watching, once again, Sci-Fi Channel was like, my gateway to so many horror films. And watching when I was 10 years old, about 1995, in the middle of the summer, it was June, I think. I can still remember it was raining outside, and I was in my the basement of my parents' house. There was like a TV down there and like kind of like a playroom sort of situation. And I can remember watching halfway through Return of the Living Dead. And for some reason, I just was like, I need to record this. And I recorded the rest of the movie. And I probably wore out that tape, just playing it over and over again. That movie scared the bejesus out of me, just completely. I was so, and the thing was, I had already seen Night of the Living Dead, which, it's just one of my all-time favorite horror films. But seeing the difference between Romero zombies and Return of the Living Dead zombies, or O'Bannon zombies, if you will, is that they can't be killed if you shoot them in the head. And so my childlike logic was like, oh, okay, well, I could always hide in the attic, or I can always just shoot them in the head if they were ever to come get me. This is like 1996. I'm thinking about this stuff, and it's like, wait a minute. I am just like crap out of luck in this situation, because you could chop them up into a million pieces and they'll still come after you. And that was, and then I finally went down to Video Ranger, the local video store, and I rented it, and it was the rated R version. So there was so much stuff. Like, for instance, like you couldn't see the nipples on the half corpse on the gurney table, and all of a sudden, like, you saw that, and like just all this stuff that I had never, and the whole beginning of the movie, which I had never seen up until that point. And that started a very deep, loving, passionate affair with that particular film in general, which I probably have seen it over 200 times at this point, I would imagine. I don't even know.
So is it safe to say that would be your favorite film of the genre?
Yeah, as passionately as I talk about it, definitely not, man. Definitely not. I mean, I love, it's funny. I went down, it was like I went through the list of all the deads. I went, there was Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead, Return of the Living Dead, Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn, and just like down the list I went, and those were the movies that I gravitated towards. I saw Dead Alive. I walked into the same place, Video Ranger. I was like, So yeah, I need something new. And Video Ranger is where I discovered. That's where I saw Reanimator. That's where I saw, I think, Street Trash. That's where I saw Toxic Avenger for the first time. And I'm like, I need something really good. Give me something just outrageous. And she's like, try Dead Alive. And I could still remember the first time seeing it, and just when it was done, just going, that is the most extreme film of all time.
Yeah.
There's no movie that's more extreme than Dead Alive.
It's very true.
And what's great about it too is just that, like, if it was serious, if it had like a very serious tone to it, it would probably be the scariest movie of all time.
Oh,
but the
probably,
fact that it's so funny, like all these like really gruesome bits happening in a funny sort of way, make everything okay.
No, absolutely. No, it's definitely one of my favorites as well. And just to go back to the video store thing, like, how much do you miss that that period? Like being able to go back to a movie store, take a look around, see what's available, like get a rental. Like I honestly miss that time.
Dude, so much. Kyle, you don't even understand. It's like it has filled a void. I love Netflix and I love Shudder and I love Hulu and Amazon Prime and I love being on all these Facebook groups and talking with people I've never met about, horror films I've never heard of, or this is what I'm watching right now, or this is what I'm watching right now. And that's great, but, I would give it all up just to be able to experience a video. Video stores were it was like a ritual. It was like picking out the movie was a important ritual. It's not even about watching the movie per se. It was like, and spending so much time to make sure that I picked the right movie. And I remember another video store, RKO Video, and just like being too little to even, I don't think I'd even seen that Killer Clowns movie, and just like wandering into the horror section and, looking at all of the covers and looking at all the things on the back of the covers.
Yeah.
Seeing all the Nightmare on Elm Streets and seeing like Freddy, I don't know which one that was, where he's like a worm and he's like eating the girl. And it's like, that is burned into my brain as like a 5-year-old or a 4-year-old,
Yeah.
like in the most wonderful way.
No, absolutely. No, it's the same thing with me. I'd go to a video store, and that's the first thing I'd do. I'd hit up the horror section, didn't matter how old I was, and I'd just stare at the covers. And it brought you to this whole other place without even having to watch the film. It was awesome.
Let me ask you a question. When was the last time you were in a video store?
The last time? Well, around here, there was one. I don't know if they're still open, but there was one here. I think it was 2-3 years ago. It didn't have the same feel. They had the popcorn going and everything. So it had the smell of a movie place, but half the place was like movie rentals, and then the other half was just them selling crap to try to keep the place open. So didn't have like that dark, dim feel to it. It was more like a old lady boutique, if you will.
Nice.
Yeah.
And tell me, when you were little, what is the cover? What cover most sticks out in your brain from the video store? If you can pick one out randomly.
Dead Alive. I don't know if it was an alternate cover, because a lot of people, when I tried to explain it to them before, they didn't recall it. But it was the one where the face is stretched out and nailed to the frame. I don't know if you recall seeing that.
No, that must have been you're from Canada, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that must have been like the Canadian version, because and you had it was called Dead Alive for you guys too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so weird. We just have that, the classic all black cover, and then there's the skull reaching through the mouth of what seems to be a woman.
Yeah.
With two skeleton hands pulling it apart. But it's funny. I've saved a lot of the VHS. I rescued a bunch of VHSs from my local video store before it closed down, and I still have all my DVDs, and I'm thinking that eventually I will take on the project somehow of making like a little horror section, in my office, and like just in the corner, like get like some of those racks and try and recreate that feeling, of just being in the horror section.
Oh, that'd definitely be awesome to see.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, I see people do it on Facebook and stuff. It seems like a really fun project. Just be a matter of making it happen. Who knows?
No, exactly. Yeah, a little bit of time and effort, but you can definitely get it done.
I think so. It's so funny. It's like looking at that. All that art is so etched in my brain. And when I was, making Romeo, I was like, Romeo needs to have the best, poster available. Like, I just have to make a poster that really pops, because I keep imagining, like, I know me personally, when I'm on Amazon Prime or Netflix or wherever, like the cover art, cover art can sell me at least on watching the first 10 minutes of a film.
Yeah.
Even if it has low stars, I'll be like, this, I have to see what this is about.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I'm the same way.
So I definitely can't hold back with that cover art. It's super important.
No, definitely. No, I think, like I said, it's probably something with us having grown up in that era that it just means something to us, like deep down inside, right?
Yeah, most certainly. I mean, we there were so many, and it's funny. There were like also there are so many that, like, when they re-release when they do these like re-releases now, like I see that they have new art, and like that's really cool. But I almost kind of wish that they had the original art that I remember from the VHS days.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Just the look of it, I can't even put it into words. It's just fantastic. Just makes your imagination go wild.
Very much so. Very much so.
Right. So what we'll do now, we'll move ahead here. Is there any anything else in the works for you in the genre, or are you looking to try something different out next?
Well, I do have another idea for a very dark horror film called Hit Run. I don't know if I will ever get to make it. I'm trying to figure out how I could feasibly do it. I also have access to overnight hotel sort of situation, and I'm trying to, it's funny. It's like I have a location, but I don't have a story. So it's like almost like I'm trying to do it in reverse. I'm trying to figure out how to write a story in this location, because it's too good not to use.
Yeah.
And I'm just, as I, try to figure out all this, marketing stuff with Romeo, I'm just trying to turn my gears and figure out what's going to happen next.
Yeah, absolutely. No, definitely an odd way of looking at it, but if you've already got a great location for it, I'm sure something will eventually come of it.
We shall see.
Hopefully.
We shall see.
So does all your filming take place in and around New York, or do you try to find specific locations or places that you typically wouldn't have easy access to?
Well, I definitely, everything I shoot has pretty much been in Westchester, New York, which sits right above New York City proper. And I just, I really do, once again, George Romero, Robert Rodriguez, all these guys, Sam Raimi, all these dudes are just like, I read about their careers, and the one thing that I admire more than anything is that they didn't try to go to New York City or LA to try and do their thing. They just try to do their thing wherever they were.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm just gonna make movies about where I'm at and what I know, and so I'm perfectly happy just making shooting stories that take place in upstate New York. If I do make Hit Run, it will definitely take place in White Plains, New York. Romeo takes place technically in White Plains, New York, but we shot a little bit in New Jersey, a little bit in Connecticut, and mostly in White Plains, New York. So that one's sort of, and a little bit in New York City, obviously.
Right on.
And, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. All right. So, just on the topic of filming location. So, like we said earlier, I'm in Canada. So the specific area that I'm in, has been given a government grant in order to attract filmmakers to come up here and hone their skills. So if the opportunity arose, would you be willing to film in Canada, or more specifically Northern Ontario?
Absolutely. Are you kidding me? Of course. I mean, the other thing too is, I never want to say no and close myself to opportunities and that to me is just, no matter what would come of it, whether I have like this incredible film or just, whatever, just if I just made something or if something didn't get made, just the experience of doing it would be incredible in and of itself. And, that's an amazing thing about Canada that we don't have enough of in America, is that, like, up in Canada, like, there's all sorts of state and federal, grants that encourage filmmakers to shoot stuff. And I believe there's a rule that certain amount of characters have to be Canadian, right? Like, you have to use, like, maybe not on a micro level like me, but like for like major or medium like budget films, like studio films or 100K indies and stuff, you have to have like I don't know what the percentage is, but they have to be Canadian.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the X amount of Canadians or something of that nature, or people from the area. That's basically just when most people film a pool party and just have all the all the locals sitting in the pool, and then there you go, you got your quota filled.
Yeah, right. That's pretty amazing.
But yeah, so if that were to ever happen, just let me know so I can get a walk-on roll with you.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We would figure something out, and maybe you would own a business called the Laughing Chainsaw or something.
That'd be awesome.
Sort of tongue-in-cheek sort of way to go about it.
Absolutely. All right, excellent. So on that note, is there anything else that you want to share with the listeners?
No, I just keep your eyes peeled for Romeo. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Romeo's Distress movie. And that's where all the information about the release will happen. If I do decide to distribute myself, I think that it could possibly be a pre-order situation. So in any case, any information about actually seeing the film will be on that Facebook page.
Excellent. So I'll definitely be keeping track of it to let people know. Maybe once it does get some distribution, we'll get you back on and we'll talk some more about it.
That'd be amazing, man. Listen, Kyle, thank you so much for having me. I really, it's an honor to be brought on to a podcast and get to talk about my art. I really appreciate it.
That's not a problem. I definitely enjoyed having you on, and definitely enjoyed our mini conversation in between about our past in the video stores.
And you know what? My favorite quote about a chainsaw is?
What's that?
The saw is family.
Oh, hell yeah. And while you were saying that, I looked over to my Texas Chainsaw Massacre poster because I was expecting you to say that for some reason.
No way. Yeah. Well, that's just the way it is.
Absolutely. So on that note, Jeff, I'd like to thank you very much for being on the show. And once again, you're welcome back on anytime.
Thank you so much, man.
Not a problem.
That was definitely a great interview, and I once again want to thank Jeff for being on the show. Just to let you guys know, we were actually speaking, me and Jeff, after the fact, and he stated that he wanted to be on the show again sometime, either to promote something or just to be on the show. So I was talking to him about co-hosting an episode, so we'll probably try to get that arranged sometime in the near future, maybe episode 40 or something. Make it special, right? Other than that, that's all that we've got for you guys today. I do appreciate you dropping on by to the show and taking a listen or downloading or whatever you're doing. Please hop on to iTunes or Stitcher and vote for us there, or rate us there, as they like to say. 5 stars preferred if possible. If not, 4 will do. Try to leave a nice little comment if you can. If not, not a problem. If you guys want to get a hold of me or the show, you can do so on Twitter at laughing_horror. Same thing with Horror Amino, laughing_horror. You can send me a chat request there. I'll definitely chat it up with you guys about horror, or whatever you guys have to talk about regarding the podcast, the genre, whatever. Next to that, you can always send me an email at laughing_horrorpodcast@gmail.com. You can visit and subscribe to our Facebook page, facebook.com/laughing_horrorpodcast. And next to that, that's all that I got for you guys. So once again, thanks a lot for tuning in. And thank you once again, Jeff, for being on the show. We really do appreciate it. And once again, as I stated before, I really did love the film Romeo's Distress. in my mind, easily 8 out of 10 for me. Once it comes out, you guys are going to have to see for yourselves. So definitely looking forward to being able to bring that information to you guys once it does become available. So once again, thanks a lot for tuning in, guys, and you have yourselves a great day. Talk to you next week.